106.7 WALH. That was Modest Mouse with March into the Sea. I'm here with singer-songwriter Michael Schenk of Build Us Fiction. Michael, in 2 words, how are you doing today?
Getting better.
This is Third Shift.
Whoa, it's Third Shift.
I just want to talk about all the awesome things that are happening.
With Jesse Littleton.
My guest is Michael Schenk. You might recognize Michael from the band We Are Snapdragon out of Cincinnati, Ohio, playing an electric guitar with a giant cello bow and or playing the theremin like some kind of wizard. Heart, passion, love, the energy that this man puts off sets my heart at ease. I've always known Michael as a singer-songwriter, a unique voice in a world where everything sometimes just seems the same. And no, this is not his music in the background. This is from Lord of the Rings. No, we can't afford to license Lord of the Rings, but we're huge fans, and it's really the only thing fitting for Michael. That, and his project Build Us Fiction, has not let a single sound out to the public, waiting for the right moment to strike. And strike true, they will. 106.7 WALH. I am Jesse Littleton. I'm sitting here with a good friend of mine, an incredible musician and songwriter, Michael Schenk. I've asked you once, but how are you?
Getting better.
All right. Sounds good. So we'll do a little bit of an icebreaker first so people get to know you a little bit better. One of the first things I'd like to ask is, well, where are you from?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay. How old are you?
27.
27. What's your favorite color?
Red, for sure.
Nice. I find that interesting. A couple people have said.
Why? Why
red.
is that?
I don't know. I mean, my favorite color is green, but when I hear red, it's. If we do enough of these, I'll find a pattern. I'll let you know what it is.
It used to be blue when I was, probably until I was like a teenager. When I started to get to more courage and
Nice.
just personality.
Fire.
It became red.
And you'll probably understand why it's red, ladies and gentlemen, later when you see this guy perform. Okay, what about, what's one of your favorite movies or just a collective of a few favorite movies that you dig?
Number 1, Into the Wild. It made me want to travel. It made me rethink everything.
Nice.
Donnie Darko opened up a million different doors of what could be, what couldn't be,
right.
What's not, what isn't, but I think it is, and
Yeah.
man, love Good Will Hunting,
Oh, that's a great movie.
American Beauty,
Yeah.
those type of things.
Well,
But I don't think there's a comedy in my top 10.
Okay.
It's all really, really intense.
That's cool. No, I love Good Will Hunting. Into the Wild. Is that Emil Hirsch? And Eddie Vedder does all the music and the true story of what's the guy's name?
Christopher McCandless.
Yeah,
but he went by his name of Alexander Supertramp. It's the name he made up for himself.
Right. But all those very inspiring and it's neat how it kind of you can tell what kind of person. That's why we ask the question. It really shapes what do people like. What sparks their imagination. What do you like to eat? Some of your favorite food.
I eat granola all the time, but my favorite food...
Yeah, what would it be in like second grade when you had
second
to fill
grade?
out the thing? You know what I mean? Like when it's like your favorite food.
Second grade. I'd probably say something like pancakes.
Nice.
In second grade, it had to have been pancakes. Now I would say pulled pork. My dad's pulled pork.
Ooh.
Out of this world.
Yeah.
He spends 20 hours laboring over it.
Yeah.
Starts the night before, wakes up every half hour.
Ooh.
To just check that the temperature is still the same.
Nice.
It's an act of love.
And I had interviewed you, or I talked with you a while back on camera about something, and it was burnt ends from some Kansas City barbecue, something. So
Austin, Texas.
Your dad's pulled pork must be pretty good if you're changing your answer on that one. Okay, well, every story starts with the beginning. So where was your beginning? Where were you born?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay. Now, was there any certain neighborhood, that you were from?
The grand old Finneytown.
Finneytown, okay. And then you were born and raised there your whole life, right? Where'd you go to high school?
LaSalle.
LaSalle. Now, were your parents, were they into music? And kind of how did music enter your life?
My dad was really into music. He always wanted to play music when he was a kid, but just never did.
Yeah.
And I was into, when I was like 13. Wait, no. This was probably like 15. The only album I had was Three Doors Down. That was the first band I really got into. Kind of lame now, but I'll admit it.
No, that's all right.
And then I was listening to the one album I had all the time on repeat. And then over in the other room, in the living room, I heard this thunderous sound.
Yeah.
And I'm peek around the corner. I'm like, what is this? And then I go around out the hall, and it's getting louder and louder. And then I come around my dad sitting in the living room, and I'm like, Dad, what is this? And he says, son, this is real music.
Yeah.
This is Led Zeppelin.
Yes. Dude, I've had moments like that with Led Zeppelin, because when I discovered Nirvana, it was about the time I found Zeppelin. It was like early, for me, it was like early junior high. And that did change a lot of things for me too. What do you think it was? Just the thunder that they bring.
The thunder, the fever, the intensity, the all in.
And how old
quality.
were you about that time?
Probably about 16.
Okay, so really, I mean, you're saying you had Three Doors Down. Now, was music a part of that? Because I know how much. I know you pretty well, so I know how much of a part of your life it is. When you were a child, was that a part of it at all? You know, as besides, like, did you sing in the choir? Did you end up doing things like that, or did it just sort of come at you later in life, like in high school, and take you over?
No, I was terrified of singing.
Yeah.
And then, but when I was my dad always listened to music, so I got that. But when I was about 13, I was hanging out with my friend Spencer, and he had this terrible electric guitar. It was awful. Yeah. I don't think it was tuned. I think it probably had 4 strings on it. Right. And I was like, man, what is this? And he tried to play the theme song to James Bond, and he didn't know how. Right. And it was out of tune, and it sounded awful. But I was like, that's the coolest thing. Yeah. Ever. Yeah. So I got my first guitar at 13. Started taking lessons. Kept going.
Awesome. And that's the thing when you find, especially electric guitar, because electric bass. I've always grew up playing piano, but the electric bass is one of the first electric instruments that I got, and I was just blown away by the power behind it. So, you know, you're 13, you're taking lessons, you're listening to some Three Doors Down that turns into Led Zeppelin, which is a good evolution. And Three Doors Down's great. They have a smash for life. You know what I mean? Yeah. Those guys, they wrote a great song. But at what moment did you really own your music and say, I'm going to try to write a song?
When I first started taking lessons, like, my teacher would try to make me do theory, and I wouldn't do it. Yeah. It bored me to hell.
It's tough.
Just bored me
to death.
Yeah.
The PG-13 rating.
Yes. And I would just come in with some song that I had written, or part of a song, and my teacher, he would be like, man, this is cool, but work on your other stuff too. And I just wouldn't. But when it started to really, really, like, pick up, I guess it would be, I started to get more and more into it when I was in college at OU. And then after college, I got in this band called We Were Snapdragon, and that really started pushing it. And now, I'd say with Bill's Fictions, now at, like, it's my peak of just going for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now there's a plan behind it, and a reason, and there's actual real energy.
Well, and I've got to witness it, and everyone's going to get to see here in a second, you know, what we're talking about as far as your style, and it's very original. But really, let's give people a little taste of it. What song are you going to play for us first?
First one is Year of Steinbeck. I wrote this whole album when I was living in Chile for a year, and
nice. This
is the summarization. This is like the opening, like, keynote spot of what this album is about.
Great. This is 106.7 WALH. Right. This is Michael Schenk with, is it Year of Steinbeck?
The Year of Steinbeck.
The Year of Steinbeck.
gave me a common ground, a talking topic with my dad. Joints and choice were made from ideas forged close to the heart. It's better to know blood is still more than a will. It's a way to fill gaps and gorges. This is the year of Steinbeck. How to be good and how to be new. It's important to you. You understand that, you can comprehend. This is the year of Steinbeck. Now you're arranged to enrage a past of adolescent thoughts. Didn't even know it. This is the year of Steinbeck. Communications are blocked. Got to open up. All the sights and will fall. Oh, teach me to cringe my teeth, buckle my coat. We're moving on, taking any whisper, any inkling for the gleam of hope. Dig our feet in, make roots out of toes. This is a year of Steinbeck. How to be good and how to be new. It's important to you. Understand that, you can comprehend. This is the year of Steinbeck. Now you're arranged to enrage past of adolescent thoughts. I didn't even know it. This is the year of Steinbeck. Communications are blocked. Got to open up. All the sights and will fall. I'm doing as long as behind it. The more I take in, the more I exhale. This is another test for what's next. The more I believe, the more I live. If there isn't a second bloom, I can miss the first watering. And I'm okay to be what I may. .7 WALH. That was Michael Schenk with The Year of Steinbeck. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing written for the author John Steinbeck? East of Eden was what I was reading when I was in Chile.
Yeah, I read, my wife had introduced this book. What is it called? The Winter of Our Discontent, I think. Mm-hmm. That's what it's called. And I sort of acted like I read Graves of Wrath in high school. You know, I did the Cliff Notes and faked my way through all that. But I got to read some Steinbeck. And I'm not a big reader, but I have to say that was some of my favorite reading I've ever done was reading one of his books. And do you read a lot? Or you?
I should probably read more than I do. Right. Just depends how busy I am.
Yeah, you're too busy writing.
Right. But I do like to read.
What we kind of talked about what where it all stemmed from, and obviously people now have seen what you are, and it's so different. I met Michael Schenk. I guess I like to kind of tell people how I ran into people.
What year was that?
I don't know, 26 years ago. No, but genuinely, I
was 1 year old.
I think
I was already doing this music.
It was probably 4 years, I think, at least.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, maybe even a little more.
It was like the year I think after I graduated.
Yeah.
From OU. That was 2010.
Okay, so that's about right. Almost 5 years. But we were hosting a open mic, with John Evans and John Marion Graves. We were the Northern Liberties. We were meeting Michael Schenk, and really just a lot of really interesting musicians came through there at that time. But he walks in, and had long hair, and I'm thinking, oh, who's this surfer type with a really nice guitar and this nice little amp, and then we realized we had a connection, which was John Evans. And then I think that's just when it all started. And I got to see Schenk do what he does, and I actually got to play some drums behind you. And
that was like at the infant stages of this project.
And we've had some pretty wild nights in there. And I believe I had my shirt off, maybe playing drums for you at one point because it was hot and it was crazy. And to play drums with you and your music and to match that energy, like clothes will fly off, But what I love about you, and we've talked about it before, is when you find music that has a singular thing about it, whether it's a voice, because music isn't for everybody. Not everybody's going to love something. People have all kinds of different tastes. But I love what you do. When you sit down, I'm also in a band called Graham Bell Fisher. You can find us online so you can see that I kind of know what I'm talking about when it comes to songwriting. But I hate when people ask me, oh, what's the process? What all this stuff. But with you, I'm super curious, only because what you're doing is unlike a lot of things I've ever heard. So when you sit down, are you channeling this stuff? Are you really thinking about? I know you're a great guitar player, and that's kind of where it started for you. So does it start with the guitar, or is it different every time?
It's usually different each time, because if I force it, it's no good at all. Right. It just has to come from somewhere out in the ether. And but one of the things that I've been doing for this record that has brought a lot of inspiration was that I've written the entire thing in different alternate tunings for my guitar.
Nice.
So if you ask me what chords I'm playing, I have no idea.
Right.
And I kind of don't want to know, because that it keeps the mystery alive for me.
Right.
And so living in Chile for a year, only had an acoustic guitar, didn't have my guitar pedals, no amp to be super loud with and hide behind, didn't have my cello bow to go crazy with on my guitar. Right. So I just had to do something that made me still interested in it. So different tunings, just things that made me still feel like this was, just something that intrigued me.
Yeah.
And then for the lyrics, it usually starts as a poem from somewhere. I write it down in poem form, and then after that, I try to put it to melody. I'll do a scratch recording of the guitar, or maybe I'll just be writing guitar with it, and then I'll try to match it with melody. So I'll cut words out. Usually I don't have to add words because the poem's longer than what fits in the melody. But
what I like how you put that, because not a lot of people would put it like that, is that you're writing something that intrigues you. And that's why I do it, I think. It's if you're a painter, you paint what you want to see, or if you're a movie maker, you make the movies you want to watch. And a lot of the times actors are like, oh, I never watched the movies I'm in. I'm like, thanks. You know what I mean? Watch it. Maybe you could evolve. Maybe it would do you some good. But they're not necessarily making the movie. They're performing, But that is a super important thing. And it's completely interesting what you are doing. So you've achieved that, for sure. There's a lot of originality to what you're bringing to the table. So I guess what we talk about in this part of the interview is what you're up to, So what is the next step Again, we're sitting here with Michael Schenk of the band Build Us Fiction. You might recognize Michael from the band We Are Snapdragon. He is the madman behind an electric guitar with a cello bow playing.
The
like
Nord
this.
Wizard.
Yeah, the Nord Wizard.
The theremin.
Yeah. The theremin, which if you don't know what that instrument is, a lot of people, it's very hard for them to play it, but this guy seems to have the magic to do it. But
I don't play it like most people. You watch videos of other people that are trying to like do symphonic orchestral stuff. And
oh yeah, you're all over.
I just have like a seizure attack on top of it.
It feels like you're playing with fire. Literally, when you watch it is all animated and
it's all blood magic.
Yeah. And We Are Snapdragon's been making some really cool waves in Cincinnati, but now you know, since your time in Chile, this is your passion project. This is you coming out, leading the charge. So where can people find it? What are you up to? You know, what can we expect in the next, let's say, 24 months?
24 months?
Yeah.
In 24 months, there'll be tons of stuff. Right now, nothing. We're keeping under lock and key until it's ready. Because we want to come in. Just today, my drummer, John Kuntz, me and him we were talking, and he was getting so excited that he punched the dashboard of my car. Just like in the moment of like when he was talking about when we're going to let it loose.
That's awesome.
And so we're going to come out full steam ahead.
Great.
Guns blazing, ready to burn things down.
Awesome. Well, with that said, because that's incredibly amazing, and you hope that people have that passion. Let's hear a little bit more of that passion. What song are you going to play for us next?
All right, this one is called Partial Lung. It's about someone.
Yeah.
Someone that is important to this radio cast. Who is it?
I don't know, but this is 106.7 WALH. This is Michael Schenk with Partial Lung.
Sign your life to set you free. Coughing blood, heartbeat weak. But as you sat, take it for granted. Partial lung, understanding the efforts it takes to take it all in, understand, take the time to breathe deeper with the partial lung. Inspire me, friends. Teach me how your inner voice says. Breathe, boy, breathe. deeper with the partial lung. Understanding the efforts it takes to take it all in. Understand. Take the time to breathe deeper with the partial lung. Nightmares when you might die. Panic attack and it's serious. But you turned around. Said life is great. And breathe, boy, breathe.
.7 WALH, that was Michael Schenk with Partial Lung. Usually we don't have this kind of conversation because this is really, I don't think it's ever happened to me this directly. But in a nutshell, what is that song about?
That song is about when you had surgery and had half of your left lung removed.
That's right. So just some of you watching this might not know, but again, I'm part of the band Graham Bell Fisher. Singing's been my life, songwriting. And, I'd met Michael, and it was in a time where I had some infection in my lung that turned into a collapsed lung that turned into 2 major surgeries, both pretty rough recoveries. And you came to see me in the hospital. I was had a diary, a journal, video journal online, showing people and letting them into my experience then. And then lo and behold, my good friend, Mr. Michael Schenk, said he had wrote a song, and it was about me and about my experience. So you can imagine my amazement and wonderment to be sitting here alive, my beautiful wife laying on the floor listening to you perform this song. It's just amazing, and it's such a treat. So thank you for that. And I think I've
Thank you for the inspiration.
Yeah, I think I've expressed to you, how I can't even put into words what a gift that is to sort of hear your life back in such a beautiful, poetic way. But intense stuff, man, and different. Anyone watching this is definitely going to go, I've never really seen that.
It's going to be more intense full band with electric guitars and everything.
Yeah, and what one of the things I like to ask people, and I always forget, is what are you listening to lately?
Modest Mouse, nonstop.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, they're a great band. They're very different. What are some other influences? I can name some because I know, but Sigur Rós.
Sigur Rós, I saw them in September. On September 23rd, 2008, changed my life forever.
Nice. Didn't
talk for 2 days afterwards in Detroit at the Fillmore, and just something about them that's you can't put into words. It's like they can play one note and it hits me in the very core.
Right.
They can play 10-minute long songs and crush my entire soul, and it's just
it's true. And if you don't know, what's the spelling? Sigur?
Yeah, right? Space ROS.
ROS. If you're not familiar with that band, check them out. And it's this ethereal, atmospheric stuff, and they're from Iceland. And they, I'm the same way. I'll have anxiety, literally, and it offers up this sonicness that helps heal that. It really will take you. Really, it's cinematic.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a movie, a good part in the movie where you choke up, your eyes water a little bit, and you're trying not to like let your girlfriend or wife see it or whoever you're with. And they offer that pretty much constantly in every song and every moment. But
they're a band that has their entire genre just to themselves.
yeah, they do. And I think that you've done the same thing, Mr. Schenk.
Not on that same level, but
Well, but you will. But we're so glad that you came to sit with us and share your incredible talent. Are they able to find you online yet? Have you even inched out into that social media world yet?
building a Facebook, but haven't invited a single person to it yet. I don't think you can see it until there's like a certain amount of people that have liked it or something like that, or something like, yeah. Awesome. Building a website, everything, but it's all under lock and key.
Great.
But it'll come out
and blow everybody's minds.
Be ready.
Yeah. Well, and you already do. We're just you and a guitar, so never lose sight of that. It's a treat to see what you do. I know that I'm not just going to see it around some corner. You know what I mean? I know that I got to go to the source. And that source is with who I'm sitting with now, Michael Schenk of Build Us Fiction. Be sure to just keep an eye out. Watch Dead Records, youtube.com/Dead Records online. He's a friend of ours. We're going to be supporting him every step of the way. Michael,
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for sitting with us. Hopefully you'll come back when you pop the top on this whole thing.
Do the full band thing.
Full band thing.
It'll be way louder.
Awesome.
Way louder.
Bigger table. Might have to do it outside. This is 106.
Do it on a mountain.
And we will. We absolutely will. Thank you, my friend, for hanging out with me.
Thank you.
It's a true treat. This is Michael Schenk of Build Us Fiction. This is 106.7 WALH. This is Third Shift. Be sure to find us at WALHradio.com. And for the full video of the interview, go to youtube.com/Dead Records Online. Tonight's programming was brought to you by WALH, Elm Street Creative Studios, Fly By Night, and Dead Records Online.